going on, people? Nate Hornung, better known as Shaggy Bets, here with betting news. And football is right around the corner. We are about 4 weeks away from week 0 in college football. So it's time to talk. It's time to talk football. So let's talk some college football. Let's start with the powerhouse of college football, the SEC, the Southeastern Conference. This is the best conference in college football, without a doubt. And it is the powerhouse of college football, but it's only been the powerhouse of college football for 2 teams over the past 10 years. 9 of the past 10 SEC champions have been either the Alabama Crimson Tide or the Georgia Bulldogs. The past 5 winners of the SEC championship have come from those 2 schools as well. You've got to look back to 2019. The Joe Burrow-led LSU Tigers is the last time someone other than Alabama or Georgia claimed this conference championship. Could that change this year? I'm not sure. We've got 16 teams trying to battle it out. So let's take a look at the SEC betting odds, starting with the odds to win the whole thing, to win the national championship, not just the SEC. Odds to win the college football playoff. You've actually got the Texas Longhorns and Georgia Bulldogs leading the charge. Texas priced at 6-1 currently. Georgia just behind them at 650. But this is the powerhouse of college football, no doubt about it. You've got 11 SEC schools find themselves amongst the top 18 favorites in the overall odds board to win the entire college football championship. Now, this is going to be an incredibly competitive conference once again, with plenty of talent spread out across the conference. Like I said, Texas and Georgia leading the charge of the overall betting odds. But what about to win just this conference? What about the odds to win the SEC? Texas does lead the charge at plus 275, according to the odds on Bet Online right now, followed by the Georgia Bulldogs at 3-1 and the Alabama Crimson Tide at 4-1. After that, we see a little bit of a drop-off with the LSU Tigers, led by Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier, at plus 700. And then things really start to slide off. You got the Ole Miss Rebels reloading after Jackson Dart's departure at 14-1. The Texas A&M Aggies at 16-1. The Florida Gators, led by sophomore DJ Lagway, at 18-1. And then you've got some others: Tennessee, Oklahoma, Auburn, South Carolina, all priced at plus 2,000. And then the Missouri Tigers, they're there as well at plus 4,000. Didn't mention 4 teams because they are way down there at the bottom of the barrel. The Arkansas Razorbacks, they're priced at 125-1 to win the SEC. Kentucky Wildcats and Vanderbilt Commodores both at 300-1 to win the conference. And bringing up the rear are the Mississippi State Bulldogs at 500-1 to win the SEC. I do not recommend anyone take that bet. It could be a long season for the Bulldogs. So let's talk about it. Let's break down all 16 teams of the SEC and see if we can find some of our best bets in the process. We're going to go with my predictions for the SEC, starting in reverse order. So bringing up the rear at number 16 is those Mississippi State Bulldogs. They are the consensus bottom of the barrel in the SEC. Just had a winless conference season last year, 0-8 in SEC play. I think they're well on their way to possibly another winless conference. They haven't won a conference game since October of 2023. They've got a tough week 1 matchup at Southern Miss. They've also got to host a feisty Arizona State Sun Devils team in non-conference. So Mississippi State, get ready. It's going to be a long, long season. Next up, at number 15, we got the Kentucky Wildcats. 9 new starters on both sides of the ball for the Kentucky Wildcats, with 6 of them on offense, including the left side of their offensive line and their quarterback. One positive for the Wildcats is their running back transfer, Dante Dowdell, coming from Nebraska. He could boost a really bad rushing offense, but it will not matter if he doesn't have an offensive line in front of them. Wildcats also have one of the toughest schedules. Some say a top 10 strength of schedule. They have games against Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, and South Carolina. Kentucky Wildcat fans, you might just want to wait until basketball season. Next up at number 14, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Diego Pavia is returning after a monumental season last year, leading Vandy to a bowl game. but it's going to be tough to get back there. Expectations are going to be high, and I just don't think this team has the talent to get back there and repeat what they did last year. They go on the road against South Carolina, Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee. They got to host Auburn and LSU. Pavia's working with 4 new offensive linemen, 2 new receivers. It will take time for them to gel in this Commodore system. So you can only hope the Vanderbilt defense steps up when it's needed, but I'm not sure that it will. Could be a long season for Vanderbilt. Next up at number 13, we have the Arkansas Razorbacks, and this actually leads me to my first best bet of the SEC. I have 1 unit on the Arkansas Razorbacks under 5.5 wins at -130. Paid a little bit of juice, but looking at this team and their schedule, I do not see 6 wins in the card. Taylon Green leads the Razorbacks, a dual threat quarterback, but he's got 3 new offensive linemen, a new tight end, an entirely new wide receiver room. The Hogs, they had a bowl win after a 6-6 season, but they have some tough non-conference games, hosting Notre Dame and going to face the Memphis Tigers on the road. Then when conference play begins, you got to take on Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, and Texas all on the road. You got to host Texas A&M and Auburn. Sure, they can pick up a win hosting these Mississippi State Bulldogs, but I don't see very many. Other than that, they face the top half of the SEC, so I think the Heartbreak Hogs are in for plenty of it this season. Give me Arkansas under 5.5 wins at -130. Next up, the Missouri Tigers that we just talked about at number 12. They've got a completely new look offensively after plenty of the pieces left last season. Penn State transfer Bo Pribula comes in to lead the charge. Tigers, a couple of fun games on their schedule. They host Kansas Jayhawks in week 2, reigniting the border war, and they do have the benefit of hosting South Carolina, Alabama, and Texas A&M. But they do have to take on Oklahoma in Norman and Auburn on the road. But if they handle business elsewhere, talking at Vandy against Mississippi State and at Arkansas, they could go bowling for a 6th straight season, but I don't see them making very much noise in the SEC. Next up, the number 11 Oklahoma Sooners. I'm low on the Sooners this season, lower than most at least. I know a lot of people have them competing for the top of the SEC. I think this conference is too deep for them. Bringing in a transfer QB, John Mateer, dual threat from Washington State. Also bringing in Jaden Ott, running back from Cal. But let's talk scheduling with the Oklahoma Sooners. They should pick up 3 non-conference wins. I'll give them that. But they host Michigan in week 2. It could be a little scary for them as far as SEC play goes. They host Auburn, Ole Miss, and LSU. But you got to play Texas on a neutral site. They got to go to South Carolina. They got to go to Tennessee. And they got to go to Alabama. If those new transfers don't work out, Sooners could have a long, tough season. So I got them finishing 11th in the SEC. Quickly, we got the Ole Miss Rebels at number 10. Life without Jackson Dart begins. I think it's going to be tough for the Rebels. They host a tough Tulane team in week 4 ahead of hosting the LSU Tigers. Could definitely be a look-ahead spot. We'll be targeting the Green Wave in that game, along with LSU, South Carolina, and Florida. They've all come to town. The Rebels face Oklahoma and Georgia on the road. They burned me on their win total last season. I looked long and hard at the under 8.5, but I could not quite get there. Decided to hold off on the Rebels. Now, next up, the number 9 Auburn Tigers. Jackson Arnold comes in ready to lead this team after just 2 conference wins from the Tigers last season. They do have a decent looking offense, but some tough non-conference games as well. Going to the Baylor Bears, then they start SEC play at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, and then hosting Georgia. They do have an easier schedule after that. I'll give them that, but they will have to pull themselves up after several probable losses and go to Tuscaloosa at the end of the season. So if Jackson Arnold does not live up to the expectations, it could be a long season for the Tigers. Number 8, the Tennessee Volunteers. They said see ya to Nico Iamaleava and turned to get Joey Aguilar, transfer from Appalachian State, actually committed to UCLA. But the Tennessee Vols, they return everyone on defense, only have to replace a few key pieces on offense. Tennessee has the benefit of hosting Georgia and Oklahoma. Well, they do have to face the Tide in Tuscaloosa and take on the Gators in Gainesville. If Aguilar pans out, this could be a good Volunteers team, especially led by their defense. Speaking of those Florida Gators, number 7, I got the Gators led by DJ Lagway. The offense is going to be good, but Billy Napier is still at the head of this team. I don't trust him. I don't trust them at all. I definitely don't trust the Florida Gators defense. They've got tough games against Miami, on the road, as well as LSU, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss on the road in conference play. I am not high on the Florida Gators this season. Miss me with anything involving them. Next up, number 6, South Carolina Gamecocks. Lenora Sellers, the 6th man on the Heisman odds board. He's ready to lead the Gamecocks. The defense lost plenty of contributors. They've got at least 3 new starters. They've got to go on the road facing LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M teams, but they'll host Clemson at the end of the season. They also host Oklahoma and Alabama. I think making the break into the college football playoff could be difficult for the Gamecocks, but they could be sneaky. I think this is a popular dark horse for a reason. Lenora Sellers is that guy. I think he has the stuff to lead the Gamecocks. Next up, number 5, the Texas A&M Aggies. The Aggies, they bring in Casey Concepcion from NC State to catch passes from Marcel Reed. We know Marcel Reed can run, but can he pass? I think he'll be able to with some competent pass catchers and one of the most experienced offensive lines in the entire league. The Aggies, they do have to go to South Bend early in the season to face the Irish, but they host Auburn, Florida, and South Carolina on the road. They just have to go to LSU and then close it out in Austin against Texas. So look for the Aggies to make some noise in the SEC, especially with their defense and this favorable schedule. Next up, number 4, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Life without Jalen Milroe begins for the Tide. It's still Alabama, though. Ty Simpson set to lead this team. A fantastic defense. Defensively, probably going to be one of the best in the league. That defense is probably going to lead them to a potential conference championship, maybe even into the college football playoff. But I do see them making the 12-team playoff. Alabama, they host Wisconsin. Then they have a bye week before going to Athens to face Georgia. Bye week definitely going to come into play there. But they end the season against Auburn. Also have to play the Gamecocks in South Carolina. But you get Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Vandy at home. Vandy, a game I'm sure they have circled. So Alabama should be just fine. 3 more to go. Number 3 in the SEC, I like the LSU Tigers. The offense is ready. Garrett Nussmeier is a Heisman candidate. Second in the odds board currently, only behind Arch Manning. They get things started right away week 1, taking on Clemson and Cade Klubnik. But as far as SEC goes, the Tigers, they travel to Ole Miss, to Alabama and Oklahoma. You get Florida, South Carolina, and Texas A&M at home. You completely avoid Tennessee, Texas, and Georgia. I have high hopes for this aerial attack. I think Brian Kelly is going to have his boys ready to go. And I like LSU as a sneaky pick to win the SEC at plus 700. I think that is worth a sprinkle, but it's going to be tough to get by these two. Number 2, I have the Texas Longhorns, actually. Arch Manning steps up to lead the Longhorns that have one of the best defenses in the entire country. Plenty of skill players surrounding Manning as well, but it's all going to matter. It's all going to matter on the shoulders of Archie Manning, seeing how he can do leading the offense. Like I said, the defense is going to be phenomenal, so he's going to be able to make some mistakes. But they do open up the season against the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes on the road in Columbus, a tough test for the youngin to come into the Division I level. They do get to avoid Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and LSU, but they could have their hands full hosting Oklahoma and Texas A&M if they are not careful. And last but not least, we got the Georgia Bulldogs. Number 1 Georgia Bulldogs, I think they are going to win the SEC this year. I think we do have a repeat of last year's SEC championship. The Bulldogs, they've got a very, very easy schedule, just 3 road games all year. You got to go to Knoxville, take on the Volunteers. You got to go to Auburn, and then you got to go to Mississippi State, which is plain and simple a win for them. Somebody is going to need to beat the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens unless this team might go undefeated. I could see Georgia just winning out. Gunnar Stockton looked competent in those bowl games last year towards the end of the season. I think he's ready to lead this team who's ready to go. They boosted their receiving core with wide receiver Zachariah Branch coming over from USC, and we all know about the Georgia Bulldogs defense. Nate Frazier trying to take over as the head running back as well. So I like the Georgia Bulldogs to win the SEC. Do think they finish first in the conference this season. That is a preview of the SEC this year. If you'd like the written version of all that, check out the article in the comments below. Check out everything I have to say on my Twitter at Shaggy_Bets. But thank you for tuning in to the Betting News SEC preview for 2025. Recap, my bets are Arkansas, the Razorbacks under 5.5 wins at -130. Don't be afraid of that juice. They are not being bowl eligible this year. And next up, we have the LSU Tigers at plus 700 to win the SEC. Those are my two bets. You can get them all and more at bettingnews.com. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.